Okay, guys, we are live. It's Friday night. It is Wataruendo night in the bag. We're going to talk about Liverpool and Bournemouth at Anfield at 3 o'clock tomorrow, of course. And we're going to talk about the new signing and possible incomings. Jackie Boy dropping them in there just before we went live. And to chat about all the red stuff that we all love, we have Keith at Eaton Ryan on Twitter. Keith, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good to go, my friend. We have the one and only Nigel in the house. If I'm pointing down right, in the house. I think it's a second time on. He's beyond cop on and stuff like that. Nigel, how are you?
Time. I'm all right. Well, apart from having COVID, I'm not too bad other than that.
Just don't give it to me through the microphone.
No.
And
the screen.
We have Jackie Boy from Anfield Road TV. You've been, Jackie. You've been like live every bleeding night, at least 3 times every night. I don't know where you get the time, but unbelievable. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Single life, lad. That's what it is. No.
I know what you mean.
No, happy days, mate. Thank you very much for having me on, and can't wait to get stuck into it. And hopefully, potential new signings along the way.
Woo! Could even be a new signing while we're live, Jack. Who bloody knows? But look, guys, to start it off, we have to start it off. Being Friday, crunchy. The rain is bleeding, lashing down here in Dublin. Today, early, I think it was about 11:30, it dropped. We knew it was going to happen. It was only a formality. But Wataru Endo, the 30-year-old from Stuttgart, Japanese captain, of course, Stuttgart captain, central midfielder. Actually, he's actually like a transformer. He can play centre half. He's 5'10", 30 years of age. He's got 5 kids. He can bring all his kids to Anfield, fill up the stands, baby. Cannot wait to see him. Keith, are you happy with our new Japanese acquisition?
I'm kind of always happy, you know, if somebody is being targeted, right? And obviously somebody's done the groundwork. We know about him, and just because he's not a name that's being bounced around the place, it makes no difference to me. To be honest with you, it looks to be, and to be honest with you, I knew fucking nothing about him up until 2 days ago. Fucking nothing. So
end of story. End of story.
Yeah. So. Listen, I've seen a few videos, I've seen a few bits and pieces, I've read all the articles, and I've listened to what people have said who know stuff about him and about what he does in the league, and it all looks very positive, and it looks like he is a Swiss Army knife type utility player who can play in a number of positions for us, you know. But he does look to be kind of quite specialist in areas where we certainly have a bit of a deficit now at the moment. So listen, you don't know, you never know with these things. Am I going to say I'm massively, massively excited? I don't think anybody really is.
You sound like you are.
Yeah, no. But listen. All I think we need, we've enough firepower to go win fucking games of football. To be honest with you, we've plenty of firepower to go win games of football. What we need is lads. What we need is steel. We need steel in the middle of the park. We need lads who can turn over football, put their foot in, sense danger, sort out danger. You know, and add a degree of continuity, because when you look at that match against Chelsea, and certainly towards the tail end of last season, we were back to where we were 2016, 2017, which was basketball football. You attack, we attack, you attack, we attack, and there's absolutely zero control. So we need to get that aspect back into our game. And he does look like he can take a ball, give a ball, retain possession, put his foot in, knows where there's danger, spot danger, can get forward, can assist, and can score the odd goal. So he looks like a player, dare I say it, you know, in the mold of a James Milner, to be honest with you, but maybe a little bit more mobility to get around the pitch. So listen, I'm all for it. I think it's exactly what we need. I don't think it's all we need. I think we still need more, to be honest with you. But certainly it is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and Nigel, I mean, if there's a lot of quotes and stuff, and I heard Klopp talking to him today. Klopp was basically met him for the first time at Axel today, gave him a hug and started telling him exactly what he wanted him for. Did you see that video?
I did. Well, I was hearing, we really need you. But what impressed me about it today was the guy, he can speak English.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Huge.
When we say
German, English, Japanese.
Yeah, I'm going to use Taki as a kind of a when Taki came, he might have spoke some German maybe, or Austrian or whatever he was speaking when he was with Salzburg. But you know, Taki might have been a little bit quiet. I don't think this guy is
No.
as quiet as that. They were saying today, I heard somebody doing an interview saying he's not as quiet as Taki is. He'll be there, he'll be talking, he'll be getting involved. He's 30 years old as well, and he'll have a bit of experience in leading players. We want him there just to sit in the middle like Fabinho did in his first 2-3 seasons. Put the foot in. That's what we want. We don't want anything, if he scores a couple of goals, fine. If he gets a couple of assists, fine. We want him sitting in the middle of the field, supporting Szoboszlai,
McAllister.
McAllister, and supporting the strikers, but basically sitting in front of protecting the back four, where we've been wide open recently, last season in particular, in that one spot down that right-hand side. If somebody goes missing, say Trent pushes forward, trying to support, drop in, make sure there's somebody fitting into every position. That's what I want. And I think this guy could do it. So
I think that's what you've got, Nigel, because I just looked at all his stats. I mean, he's 5'10". He's not super tall or anything, but I mean, like he played a lot of centre half time for Stuttgart as well. I think he played right back as well. He can play bleeding loads of places, but his specialist area is a 6 or a CDM type in the middle. He likes putting the foot in. He's good on the ball. He scores the odd goal, makes the odd goal. That's not his job really. His bread and butter is putting the foot in, getting stuck in. And he's not afraid. He even wears a gum shield, for God's sake. He's ready to rock and roll. Jackie boy.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of our midfielders whacking somebody, you know what I mean? For a change.
Yeah. No, he's certainly going to get stuck in, boys. I'll tell you that now anyway. Like, listen to all the German football experts over last week. He seems like exactly what we need. And it was interesting, the desperation. Like, I think all of us have seen that video, but if you haven't, go and check it out on the shorts from Liverpool. But it seemed like it's the utter desperation that Liverpool's manager does find, and certainly it was interesting in his quotes today as well. Money's no objective, really, and it shouldn't be. It should never be for Liverpool Football Club. The amount of revenue streams that come into that club from every element and every facet of this, every commercially and everything, like we should be signing £100 million player every 2 to 3 years. City do it, Arsenal, Newcastle will start doing it when they get Champions League revenue. So, it's exciting, mate. He's going to be hopefully a player like, and I was speaking to you, Dave, in the show today, and a cool figure like in terms of Dirk Kuyt, like for the qualities, that's certain elements of this lad's game. He might disappoint. He'll certainly make up in terms of his attitude, especially the Japanese culture as well. Their upbringing and everything about that country as well. They are massively hard workers, and first and foremost they strive upon achieving for football in terms as well. I watched that Japanese team in the World Cup as well. I know it was everyone goes to the World Cup, but certainly the extremely well structured side, and they were captained by obviously our new man.
It's actually a 4-year deal, lads. I thought it was a 3-year deal. It's 2027 as far as I heard. 4-year deal.
The only thing I would counter with that, I don't think he is the finished piece of the
certainly is.
Like, I think he is. I think he's definitely a step towards that. A lot of the football, a lot of the times we're getting caught out is not necessarily, quick football that's being played in and around that space between the edge of the 18-yard box and halfway to the center circle. It's deep playing balls, that are being played down the channels that sometimes, and certainly last season, that bypass, Fabinho, whoever's been playing the 6. So we still need to be pressing in the right ways, and I still think it's a work in progress. I think our 8s need to be pressing on either side, to be honest with you, a lot better than what they were, and that was definitely shown with when we tried to play Gakpo there last weekend. He just didn't know what he was doing. He just couldn't. He didn't know where he was or what he was doing right, to be honest with you, in terms of oppressing him. So I do think it's definitely that. But I do think, like, we know McAllister does it as an 8. I do think there's a space there for somebody else. I hope Thiago comes in the weekend, to be honest with you. Now that Curtis is not fit, and I think
he's touch and go. I don't think he's available, Keith.
Yeah,
Thiago.
I think we'll struggle then in the middle of the park this weekend, to be honest with you. But
does anybody know if Endo has got clearance to play?
I think I've seen today that he had. Might be wrong, but pretty sure that there was
he has to get international clearance to play. I thought that took 24 hours, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, was it Nat Phillips as well? I only remembered that him and Nat Phillips quite close mates as well. Time at Stuttgart, so certainly it would help in terms of us easing him in. But I'd agree with obviously with what you said there, mate. In terms of he won't be the main big sign. I still think there's one thing to put from Jurgen Klopp to pull out the bag. There, Keith, you spot on, mate. We need it. We need more than probably.
I think we need a defender, lads, as well. To be honest.
I don't know whether or not we're going to get a defender now or not. To be honest with you, and I think the fact that we bought this utility means he can
play. He can play centre half. Yeah,
centre half as well. And I think that's what he's buying with him. To be honest with you, I'd be surprised if we got a centre unless it's a project signing. A young lad to come in and we're gonna work him through. So I should be surprised at that. I still think there's a position up for grabs in the centre of the park. To be honest with you, I still think there's a pressing 8, or more of a utility 6. The way we play at the moment and the way we're getting cut out, I'd love to see us play with a double pivot. To be honest with you, and then have almost play like a 6-4, 6 at the back, probably 2 in front, and then let 4 lads go up front. Like 4-2-3-1. I think we've got the personnel to be able to do it if we can get the system right. And that then protects us on both sides, left side and right side, sitting, pressing on a little bit, but it also gives us the flexibility if we're playing against, if we're playing at Anfield against a low block, that's out the window. We don't need it. But if you're playing against a top 6 side, if you're playing against a side away from home on one of these occasions where you're going to be under pressure, Friday night lights, or Wednesday night lights, or Tuesday night lights, I'd love to see us almost sit 2 in front, to protect, and then let the 4 go win it. And if we win a lot of games 1-0 and it's shite and it's fucking ugly, so be it. I couldn't give a shit.
So, guys, obviously Wataru Endo is in, but do you think, what's it, less than 2 weeks, about 10 days, isn't it? 1st of September is the window closes. Decore is being mentioned a lot. Even Gravenberch has bloody raised his head again. And I think there's 1, possibly 2 more. I'd be surprised if we get 2. I'm hoping we get at least 1 more. But who do you think? Decore, Jack, I heard you mention. That's a lot of money, though, isn't it? 70 million or something?
Potentially. You look at it statistically when he was at his time in France, really, he could be a player that will come in. I think he's just going to be turning 24 very soon as well. So he's the best, I wouldn't say the bad bunch, but in terms of the profile in the Premier League, Paulinho's still out injured. He's 28, would be too much. Saicedo, Lavia both gone anyway. So he's probably that 4th, 5th choice for Liverpool, really. He would come in and certainly he absolutely battered us when we played them last year as well. So he's a player that will know Liverpool. He knows the Premier League. He's coming at the right age profile, as we've already said tonight. We need that player to come in alongside Bajcetic, and obviously the Endo's going to be that experienced head in and around them. So we need options first and foremost. The Europa League's going to come thick and fast, really, whether we go with the strong lads or we very much play a lot of the kids anyway. But the priority is, as we know, Champions League football, and hopefully get back up there. But we're a very long way for me. But if we can stop conceding goals, it goes a long way, as Keith said there. It's not as easy as just saying that, but we've certainly got the defensive players. We've got Alisson, Van Dijk. If they can somehow galvanise a bit of their form, then we'll certainly be back up there, mates.
I was reading the thing today, the fact that he wears the gum shield, people were saying, what was that about? Do you know what it actually was? A medical fact I heard today about it saves from concussion, because when you jump up in the air and land and your teeth literally smash together, it has an effect on the skull and stuff like that. That's why a lot of rugby players wear them as well. It's something to do with concussion as well. And actually, lads, I think he's only been out twice for Stuttgart in the last 3 years. I know Liverpool's injury course. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But he's got a really, really good injury record. Once he was out for COVID, and the other time was a suspension or something. So
no, it was concussion.
Concussion. There you go. He wasn't wearing his gum shield.
Yeah, the thing I say about Endo is that the fact that Endo comes in, I don't think Paulinho happens because age profile. We're not going to bring in 2 age profiles of that description. So I think the fact that he's come in now probably rules him out. And you're probably looking at somebody who's a little bit younger, to be honest with you. So, and it could very well be one of Gravenberch or one of Decore. I've seen a lot more of Decore than I have Gravenberch, to be honest with you. I know very little about Gravenberch, to be honest with you. If it's a pick between 2, I think in terms of where we are, you prefer to pick one who knows the league and has been playing in the league and has that bit more experience in the league. But hey, listen, who knows? Somebody could come in completely out of left field as well. That's
hopefully,
you know.
Just wonder,
Let's hope.
Is it a possibility that he could play as a third centre half and we play three at the back, like he was trying to play with Robbo there? But the lads, a lot of people saying Robbo doesn't suit the system. But could we actually play?
He brought him in as a number 6 because you heard what he
Yeah.
said to him.
Oh yeah. But let's just say,
Nigel. It's all about options.
Let's just say he wants to switch the system. If we get another holding midfield player, is it possibility he could play on the left hand side, or even right back? If you actually push Trent into a double pivot in the middle of the field,
he can play right back as well. I think as well.
Yeah. Play him right back. Possibly play him right back and push Trent into a double pivot with Mac.
Maybe.
I'm not sure on Trent playing that type of. I think Trent, if he's going to move into midfield, it's in an 8 position. It's not in anywhere near 6. I thought his interview after the Chelsea game was absolutely telling. I don't know whether you've seen it or watched it back. He pretty much came out and said, "My game is getting on the ball and making stuff happen." He, as a right back or as a defensive midfielder, he should be saying, "Well, my job is to stop goals. My job is to cut out crosses. My job is," and it wasn't. It was my job is to get on the ball and make stuff happen. So that's where his head's at. I don't think we need to. At some point in time, we need to embrace that, and he needs to be moved the fuck out of a defensive position, right? It's not his game. It's never going to be his game. I don't think we're ever going to train it into him. I think, but that's not to say that if we get our shit sorted out in the middle of the park, he can just be as he was beforehand, because we limit the amount of exposure he gets. At the moment, we're not limiting the amount of exposure he gets because, we're not controlling the ball as well as we used to, and we're certainly not turning over the ball. We're not pressing as well as we used to. As a result, he's being exposed, right? So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't think he's ever going to be a top 3, top 4. If you take the assists out of it, he's not a top centre. He's not a top right back. He's not, right? Let's just put that to bed. He's not, but he's fantastic. And you saw the ball into Salah at the weekend. He has vision. He just needs to be pushed further forward. But unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have anybody who can step into that space. Now, if we limit the amount of exposure he has, in other words, what I'm saying, with a double pivot with defined, kind of defensive midfielders, we press better from the front, we press better from the middle of the park, it limits the amount of exposure he gets, right? And the amount of opportunity to get in behind him and get balls over to him. If we can sort that stuff out the way we were back in 19, 20, 21, well then, there's a place there for him. But I think that's where we need to look at.
Nigel, do you want to answer that Rob Mulholland question? Can you see that there? Is it hampering us? 4-3-3 suited us with a mobile midfield that we have now. Why not use it? I don't know. I just keep thinking it's all about options and stuff. And the more utility players you have, the different ways you can play, the different ways you can react to situations as well. And the 5 sub-rule is huge. That 5 sub-rule
it's massive. But I do think we need what we've just bought, that holding midfield player. I think we have to have that. That system opens us up really big time. So I think he's a must. Now, if we're going to play that system, I think any system now you have to. It's such an important position now to hold a midfield player. I'm going back to. I know he mightn't be the most popular person in the world, but remember when we were playing in the Champions League final, we were 3-0 down at half time. What was the big substitution that was made? Didi Hamann, exactly.
Yeah.
Turned the game around. Put his foot on the ball, just put his foot in and stop Milan breaking through our middle. And it worked perfectly because they weren't in overconfident. And then they tried to stroll to us again, and suddenly there's a wall in front of them.
Yeah.
So just a little...
Huge.
Yeah,
as Keith said, it was so noticeable, especially in that second half against Chelsea, Keith, I thought. More in the second half against Chelsea that we are missing a CDM. There was just nobody there protecting the back four. It was so obvious,
I'll tell you another thing. Like you look at the United Wolves match during the week where United just went, well, do you know what? We're just going to steamroll these. And we play one even at home, and we play one CDM, and then we just play flair players in and around it, right? And you saw what Wolves did to United and did to the United midfield. They just fucking ran through them, just ran through the fucking middle. And they went, you know what? If I can just flick the ball past him, unless he takes me down, there's nothing he can do, and that's straight through the middle. So you also got to be mindful of that. Like in the modern game, I think just having if you're not pressing all around the pitch, right? In other words, if your 8 isn't pressing like a fucking animal, your right hand 8, your left hand 8, and your front 3 aren't pressing like animals, your 6 can be left exposed, you know, so can be left exposed. 6 is great to have if everybody else is pressing because he's that final piece. He's the man who says, right, if the press doesn't work, I'm in there. But if that press is not there at all, you're going to play right through the 6. Do you know what I mean? And play around the 6. So
Ebo was having to do it last week, lads, moving up from centre half into midfield, trying to break up play, and we got caught a couple of times with it. He won a couple of balls, but he was coming up and he got caught with a couple of free kicks and got caught with a couple of possessions because he was coming up and trying to get tight to a man in front of him, and it was just going in behind, and we were getting cut down the wing because Ebo was having to move up.
Yeah. So the 6 is pivotal. The 6 is an absolutely, if you get the 6 right when everything else is right, well then you know what? You get really solid, you get really hard to break down. Yeah. However, if you're just relying on the 6 to do all of that donkey work and the rest of the team in front aren't doing their job, well then the 6 is going to be left exposed. So 8 both sides need to be pressing, front 3 need to be pressing, and allow then the 6 to mop up. He's almost going, right, if that happens, I'll do that. If he doesn't get there, I get there. Not like he's not going to get there, I have to get there. Because if he gets there because the 8's not got there, the fucking space in behind, it's a one pass in between and then they're in at our back too. Because our full backs are pushed on. So it is really good to have a 6 right, okay? But you do need to make sure that in the other positions on the pitch, everybody is working to the right system and pressing as a team and pressing as a unit. All right. So that's all I'll just call out there. Now, when you put a double pivot in, right, a double 6 pivot in, well, then you've got a little bit more flexibility in that space. The only problem there is sometimes you take away from the continuity. You might have as much ball retention. You might have as much possession because you're effectively splitting the team in 2, right? But it's all stuff that needs to be worked on, you know? So but now, in terms of where our problems are most certainly in terms of, you know, ball being turned over in the wrong areas. And all teams are doing is getting their head up and playing the channel. Play it down the channel. Where's Trent? Where's Robbo? It's over him. And then what they do is they take the ball and then they cross it back over to the other side. They switch it and then they're in on us. So the playbook is there for all to see. It's the same fucking playbook the teams play against us. They're either going Robbo or they're going fucking Trent. And it's a toss-up. But that's the playbook because they're getting 2 good balls in the middle of the park because the press is not right around the pitch. And we don't have a proper 6 then to be able to mop up. Yeah. So...
Yep.
So that's that was all last season, basically, wasn't
it?
Yeah. That was basically all last season.
Just give us a little update there, lads. The under-18s are playing Derby County tonight away, and they're winning 1-0. Goal by Trent Coney-Doherty from Derry.
Yeah.
Who scored? He's got a screamer of a goal last week. Screamer of a goal last week and an assist. They won 4-0 last week.
I think he's in the Republic of Ireland under 18.
Yes, he is. He is. He's from Derry, but he's.
Yes, he is. He's
Republic, and the under-21s are playing in the morning as well. They're playing. I can't remember who they're playing, but they're playing at 12:30. It's on the Liverpool channel, I think.
A nice little update there, live from Nigel. I think the consensus is we're all happy with Wataru Endo. We're happy with him. We'd love to see him on the pitch. Whether he's available tomorrow on the pitch, either way, he'd be at Anfield waving at the crowd at half time, I'm sure. But welcome to Liverpool, Endo. Let's talk about the game at 3:00 at Anfield tomorrow. We can have a quick word about the administration, or I don't know what the hell happened. Was it Buckingham or something is the name of the group, Jack, that or administration or something going on with the stand? Not quite finished yet.
Yeah, it's disappointing for the people that have, of course, lost their jobs. I think the social media age we live in, they were more asked about the stand than the people actually losing their jobs. But hence is the world we currently live in. Hopefully they get sorted with new contracts and everything. So it's it should be. It was more or less the top stand that needed. It wasn't a lot of work to be doing. It was more or less the case in point of just getting new seats and everything in by all accounts, really. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, mates. I will be watching it in sunny Greece, which would be good. So yeah, but I need some sun, as you can tell. But I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's the Scottish blood in me, lad. The main, I think, as you've mentioned there, boys, so Buzz Light going into tomorrow's game, he was an absolute. I'll tell you what, if he scored that goal against Chelsea, it would have been a bit naughty anyway. But I think the more and more we see of this, lads, he's got every elements of his game really that would thrive. And as the lads were saying, that 4-3-3 system, I think the massive change for Liverpool, we can sort that 6, is having McAllister left 8 and obviously Szoboszlai on that right-hand side. They are the pressing machines, as you mentioned there, boys. They are absolute animals in those positions. They are, we've all seen Brighton over the last 2 years, McAllister. We didn't see him against Chelsea playing that 6. He done his best, really. But I think when you speak about obviously the 4-3, I think we will go back to the 4-3-3 to go back to Rob's comments, because the main key as well alongside those 3 in the middle, if we can get a 6, is Cody Gakpo dropping into that pocket of space. That obviously, if Liverpool are going to be coming up against an Arsenal or a City where they played a 3-box-3 formation, Cody occupying that extra midfield space, dropping deep, will be interesting. I don't anticipate a 9-0 as well, boys. Would love it, but I think
yeah,
break the record. Go for 10.
Yeah, certainly. But
Jack, are you a vampire?
Probably, yeah, definitely.
He wouldn't be going to Greece if he was a vampire, would he? Hardly. But so tomorrow, Keith, obviously it's Bournemouth at 3:00. We beat them 9-0 last year, and an exact return. They beat us 1-0 in their bloody ground. The cherries. We need to put the cherry on top of the cake tomorrow, lads. We just need the 3 points, really. But what would your 11 be tomorrow, Keith? I know Curtis Jones is out. Let's hope, but let's presume Endo isn't there. I don't know. He might be there. I don't know. Same as Chelsea?
I think if Curtis is out, listen, we're at home, to be honest with you. Maybe in terms of where we are, a bit of consistency there. Probably, to be honest with you. I haven't really put a huge amount of thought into it. The only thing I was thinking, but you've kind of poured cold water over that, is that if Thiago was available, well, then I would have loved to see him in, to be honest with you, and I would have loved to see him go in at 6 and push McAllister onto one of the 8 positions. Otherwise, that's the same. He's trained all week, has he? Or
he's only back in light training, I think. It's not right, Nigel.
Yeah.
Klopp said something today about Pjanic and Thiago. They're not quite there. That's what I heard him say. So, presuming next week.
So he'll come back fully fit.
I don't think we've got much choice then, to be honest with you, in the middle of the park. I don't think we've got much choice there at all, to be honest with you. The only thing I would say, just in terms of, is I thought Elliott did absolutely fantastically well when he came on. I thought he changed the game, to be honest with you. So, and I think he's probably played in that position a little bit more often than Gakpo is. I think he could be in with a shout, to be honest with you, but without anybody else there. Definitely McAllister 6, probably Szoboszlai an 8, and then I would maybe look certainly for his creativity, and they're going to give us the same problems anybody else is going to give us, to be honest with you. They're going to have the same playbook. They're going to look to get the ball forward as quick as they can as soon as they're in good possession of the football and put us under all sorts of trouble. That's what they're going to do. That's going to be the playbook tomorrow. So I thought Elliott did really well when he came on. I thought he changed the game, to be honest with you. Maybe he's worth a shout. Other than that,
you wouldn't start Darwin tomorrow, no?
Jota was poor. I thought Jota was really poor last week.
I think Darwin has a chance to start tomorrow. I really do. With Salah and Gakpo. Diaz wasn't bad. He got the goal, but I just think Darwin needs a game, and no better game at home against Bournemouth. You're going to get chances against Bournemouth. You should get chances against Bournemouth.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is that I think at some point in time, we're going to move towards a 4-2-3-1 at some stage with him being the figurehead. And we're going to rotate that 10 position with Salah on one side and Luis on the other side, and then have a Jota and Núñez going for that position to the front with Gakpo in behind. I think that's where he's going to move towards at some particular point in time, to be honest with you, looking at the personnel we have. Probably not tomorrow. So I'm just not too sure. Núñez is... I think he'd probably go with Jota again. I think the only change could very well be Elliott for Gakpo, and otherwise, as you were.
I just think Jota nearly is better as an impact sub with 20-25 to go and you're looking for a goal. I think he gives you a lot more. I think Darwin has a great chance to start tomorrow. Apparently he was good in training all week. Did okay when he came on against Chelsea. That looping shot almost went in the 94th minute, wasn't it? But look, lads, we just need 3 points tomorrow. Scorelines doesn't really matter. I take 1-0 all day bleeding long, to be fair. Clean sheet's a bonus. And I'd love Endo to get a game, even to come on, never mind start, if he's available. But that would be the dream for me tomorrow.
Well, the thing about it is, like, we play Newcastle. Like, we have to have somebody in who's been in around the squad for a period of time before we go to Newcastle. There's no way in fucking hell you can play against Newcastle with that midfield we played against fucking Chelsea. We'll be ripped apart. It'll just be a procession of champion against
with the mouth guard. Endo.
Yeah, I think you actually need somebody else there. We need to. Well, listen, Thiago back makes a huge amount of difference there as well. To be honest with you, like, if we can keep him fit, he's still world class. And I think he owes us something. I still think he owes us something, to be honest with you. If we can keep him fit.
Does, but I mean, he can't probably control the injuries, Keith, either. You know what I mean? I mean, it's bad luck and everything like that. So, young Bjasetic as well is another bleeding one that got injured at the wrong time. He probably got, do you know what? He probably got injured at the right time, a lot of people will be saying, for the very fact that he was playing a lot more games than was expected. You know what I mean? It was a year or two down the curve.
Look what we're doing for Fabinho, though, mate.
We
ran Fabinho into the bloody ground in about 4 or 5 years.
That's what I mean. He was being run into the ground before
we were playing players out of position, lads, and we ran the legs off him. That was the problem. From the season before, when we had to play centre midfielder, centre half, we ended up running the legs off Henderson. We ended up running the legs off Fabinho. We ran the legs off Thiago. Ran the legs off Curtis Jones for a while there. Ran the legs off by Chetic, because they were having to play too many games, and then they were having to play games out of position. Never good.
Yeah. And you look at City starts the season. They were, very lethargic. Got the job done against Burnley. They were very lethargic against Sevilla. Absolutely blessed to get that result. That's what competing. And they've rotated a lot better than we've rotated. They've got a lot more squad depth, and they look to be leggy. They look to be leggy at the moment. You've got De Bruyne out, gone for 4 months now because he's carrying something from the Champions League final. Like, it does come back to bite you, no matter what way you look at it. So, we've done that. But listen, I think we've probably got a bit fresher stuff coming back in. Like, Thiago hasn't played a huge amount of football, to be honest with you, lads, has he? Like, keep him anyway fit, to be honest with you. He's a fantastic utility midfielder to have, playing 6 or 8. So that's just a pity now we haven't got back tomorrow. I was looking forward to seeing him tomorrow, to be honest. Never.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's available. I'd love to see Endo, though. Would you, Jack, tomorrow to start? That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, as we said.
You're not going to the game, are you, Jack? You going to the game?
No. It won't be. I'll be in Greece, lad.
Oh, yeah.
If
You'll be watching it on the plane. You'll be on the plane watching it.
I think it actually will be on the plane when the match is on, so I'll have to watch the highlights and everything when I land anyway. But yeah, I just want to see more of Gakpo. I mentioned it before. I think we've all seen the press conference today. Jurgen Klopp spoke quite big lengths about the lack of control. It's hence why we're just getting absolutely obliterated in the wide areas. But
yeah,
Cody Gakpo is such an intelligent player. Like, he's a £100 million player, and the fact that we got him for like 35 million, but he is the glue to Liverpool's success in the long term. Because we spoke about Jota, how many times did that ball bloody bounce off him? And when we watched it against Chelsea, we can get Cody Gakpo to just bring that ball in, push the team higher up the pitch. It sounds simple, but it means so much in terms of it allows the other lads around them to get forward. I don't know how you lads feel about Andy Robbo's position in the squad as well.
He had a poor second half last week, didn't he, Jack? He got exposed a few times against Chelsea.
He's not a left centre back though, is he, mate? As we said, potential change in system. Put him in that 4-3-3 down that left hand side. I think we'll of course get the best out of him again. But I think he is probably one of the key players that is getting massively sacrificed. His game's getting destroyed in the current system that we keep on playing. For me,
I think he's lacking a bit of confidence, to be honest with you. I think some of his decision making in the final third, when he does get into good positions, has been questionable for a season. If I'm being honest with you, shooting when he should cross when he should shoot. Not taking on players, not going past safe options, kind of stuff as well. I think he's kind of struggling a little bit now in terms of his overall confidence, which can change quite quickly, to be honest with you. But you know, if you're asking him to do stuff that's not natural to him, well, then obviously, you know, he's got a lot going on in terms of where he needs to be, his positional play, you know, what's coming in behind, what's going forward.
Yeah.
So, and even when he gets into a good attacking position, he's probably in the back of his mind, he's kind of going, what happens if I fuck this up? What's in behind? You know, so I do think there's a huge amount on his shoulders, to be honest with you. But I do think if we can get our midfield right, if we can get our midfield sorted, and the thing about the press as well, and you know, I suppose we forget about how good that front three press was, how good at setting traps we were in the front, you know, and we've done a lot of mixing and matching. Yeah, we've done a lot of mixing and matching up at that front three. So sometimes the press looks like we're pressing, but we're not necessarily pressing as good as we could press because it's fairly easy to turn around and chase around, you know. So listen, I think what we need is a period of solidity. I think we need a period of, I'd almost kind of say, try and pick the same 11 as much as we can, or close enough to the same 11 with one or two changes at most around there. Get the midfield sorted out, right? Get all of that sorted out. Because, you know, when we look at the season where the season we won the Champions League and the season where we won the league, when you think about what our back two had to do, they'd do fuck all, basically. You know, it was the odd ball over the top. Teams were still trying the same fucking thing, but they were doing it whereby they were under pressure to do it, you know, so they weren't able to execute, you know, because they didn't have head-up football. And, you know, we were able to deal with a huge amount of that stuff using two centre-halves at the back with the two wingers bombed on, you know, basically because of the pressing scenario that we have. I don't think we've got back to anywhere near that. And I think that's down to personnel as well, to be honest with you, right? You know, so I think if we can get that sorted out, I think if we can get our press sorted out, I think if we can get our energy and our ball retention sorted out in the middle of the park, I think we'll be back to where we were. And like, you've got to look at, we changed away from that. We looked to move away from that because teams were playing low block, block of four, stopped us being creative, allowed us to get the balls out wide, but we're able to deal with crosses into the box. So then we've changed the system to adjust. And by changing the system to adjust, we've made ourselves more open. We maybe need to go back to where we were 3 or 4 years ago, right? Where we were solid as fuck, you know, back four, middle three, front three pressing, and we're good enough. We've got enough firepower up front to go win games of football. And I don't think there's anybody at the moment who are going to go 98, 99 at the moment. And you look at where City have strengthened, they look like they're going to be hard to beat. They're not going to score as many goals as they did last year. I don't think so. But they're going to be harder to beat. They will win matches 1-0. They will win matches 2-1. And they won't give a fuck about it. I think we need to get back to that. Make sure we get the one goal, score the first goal, and then fucking strangle teams. And hopefully
do you know what it is as well, Keith? And I was just surprised at the stat. I know stats don't mean huge amount at the end of the day. 35% possession of the ball against Chelsea.
Yeah.
That was unusual for a Liverpool team, wasn't it? I mean, there was no ball retention. We couldn't hold. And Klopp mentioned it today. Someone asked him about it. And he said, even against the great City sides, you know, when we were battling and we'd still have more possession than that. You know, that was a little worry for me. And that's where the six is missing.
We coughed up a lot of possession. We kept coughing it up as well in our own half.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was
because
you
look at the personnel. You look at the personnel, right? You look at Gakpo playing there. It's not natural for him. You know, he doesn't know what to do. He's a front foot player. You play the ball into him. You can see the whole game in front of him. He does stuff. Szoboszlai needs work, right? I think he presses like feck and he's absolutely fantastic, but he coughs up a good bit of possession more than he probably does in a further position, you know, in and around that. Like when you look at when we had Wijnaldum and we had Henderson and we had Fabinho playing around there, you know, there's lads who could take the ball in the wrong positions, in positions where they're under a bit of pressure, and you know they're going to make the right pass and come out of it. We're just not there at the moment. We're not there now at the moment. We need to have lads who can press, who can obviously get their foot in, but we also need lads who can take the ball in positions or in situations where they're under a bit of pressure and come out with the ball. If you look at that Chelsea game, how many 50-50s we lost, right? And if you look at the game as well as how many situations whereby, in fairness, we were trying, we 2 and 3 lads going in for the ball, and one player Chelsea coming out with the ball. That's 3 of our lads out of position going into win possession. Chelsea lad comes out with the ball, and then those 3 lads
caught in the break.
It's open field football. So, you know, 1 goal, 2 goals, and this doesn't happen overnight. But one lad goes in, okay, I'll wait to see what happens, then I go in. Other lad, wait to see, not 3 lads going in at the same time. So there's a lot of headless chicken shit that goes on, and it's not going to be sorted out overnight, by the way. But if you get lads like Endo with experience, right, you know, they would bring that level into that kind of thing to say, do you know what? I'm not going to go fucking diving in there because let's just see what happens, and then I'll pick up the loose pieces.
Yeah.
You know,
the kind of game that you're talking about there, Brighton last season when they handed us our arse.
Yeah.
They tore us to pieces down the same channel every single time. We kept giving away the ball and they just ripped us to bits.
Yeah.
Down that channel every time.
And we started quite well, you know.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
We did.
That's the other thing, you know, that, you know, if a game doesn't go against us, we need to get back to that kind of go, it will come, it will come. Let's keep doing what we're doing, it will come. You know, we won the league that season, Champions League season before. We never got phased, stuck to the game plan, kept it going. At the moment, you know, we're quite fragile. We score a goal, fantastic. We get two tails up, then we're very hard to catch. But that space between us going 1-up and another team going 1-all, when that happens, you know, the wheels fucking come off quite quickly, lads. Quite quickly.
I mean, Chelsea could have been 2-1 up after just a few minutes after going 1-1.
Yeah.
And we could have been 2-0 up.
I think if we'd have gone 2-0 up, we'd have wiped the floor.
We would have won the game
well,
at 2-0, I think.
But
I think we would have won the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that fragility, Keith and Ivan and Nigel, we seen it creep in last year. That fragility where we go 1-0 up in the game and we can't take the second goal. We're fighting for the second. It's not going in. We're a bit unlucky or bad finishing. The team equalise. And there's a real fragility sets in, isn't there? There's a nervousness that sets in. I'm hoping the likes of Endo or someone in that middle can put his foot in the ball with his shield on.
It's exactly what Keith said. Retention, ball retention. Exactly what it said. It's exactly what Keith said. Ball retention. Milner could do it on his day. Henderson was able to do it those years when we were Genie Wijnaldum. Look at Genie, how good he was at that.
Yeah.
It was like the Kenny Dalglish thing. Stick his arse into people and just hold them off. Yeah. You're not getting this ball. Simple as that.
Mentality as well, though, boys. Like the mentality in that team last year. Hence why a lot of the big players
was weak.
Hence why we've had a mass exodus. Our captains left. Our vice captains left. The fact that those two lads let that team, there was lots of in-house fighting by all accounts last year, and rightly so. There was a lot of harsh words probably branded around the dressing room, but it's up to now, and hopefully with the Endo, the new lads, it only takes that one spark within a team. Like if one lad is constantly breaking his absolute bloody ass every single week, it's just a pattern, and hopefully, as you mentioned, boys, the dominoes do fall into place quite quick.
Paddy Kenny, is that the goalkeeper? Is it? Is that the goalkeeper? Paddy Kenny.
The other thing as well is you know, if you really want to start winning stuff, we need to get a lot better at game management, right? So if we go 1-up, great, okay, we go 1-up, you know, and let's just make sure we don't have to go fucking gung ho for 2 and for 3. 2 and 3 opportunities will come, but you make sure you don't concede one, you know. So, you know, get on the ball, move the team around, retain possession, look for your opportunities, and then be clinical when those opportunities present themselves, right? And don't go fucking gung ho for and just keep playing the same mantra. Like, you have to be able to say, if we go 1-up, we go 2-up, but then we're okay. If the third comes along in the fourth, but if we go 2-up, it doesn't have to be we're on for 7, we're on for 8, we're on for 9 here, lads. Just control the football, control the game. We'll still get the same amount of chances and opportunities will still present themselves, but just starve them with the football. Kill it. Absolutely fucking kill it.
Hate to mention it, but the perfect example, hate to mention it, but 2014 against Crystal Palace, 3-0 up, and we kept going forward. Absolutely pointless.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? We've been good since then, though. I mean, we won the Champions League.
But we had
the quadruple 2 years ago. We were able to do that. We were able to go 1-0.
We had a manager with a different mentality, though. Yeah. We had a manager with a different mentality after that, not a headbanger who just wants to go forward.
Yeah, but if you look at some of the games, right? Certainly the game against Chelsea. Chelsea had periods whereby they were all over us. And we were still looking to do the same stuff. And we look really dangerous, don't get me wrong. Like, we're fucking really dangerous. Like, we could literally just go, 3, 4, we could score 2 goals in 2 minutes, 2 goals in 3 minutes. But somebody somewhere on that football pitch needs to be able to understand at some particular time they've got a spell. They're having a spell. Let them have their spell, and we stop it. So we sit in, and we allow our lads up front. Put Mo on the halfway line. Put Nunes on the halfway line, right? And let's just try and do what other teams do to us. Play it down the channel, let them run onto it. But we go bank of four, up until that point in time whereby we're now front foot football, and then we expand again. Like we still try and play the same fucking football when we're under pressure.
Especially away from home, lads. Especially away from home.
Teams are going to have spells.
Yeah.
So go, right, you're on a spell now at the moment. It's back to back. We sit in, we protect, right? But we leave our two fucking speed merchants up front so that when we break the ball down in the right position, it's a long ball over the top. And what that does, lads, is what we try and do is we break the ball down and we try and play it out, and then we get turned over and we're not actually moving out. So I think buying experience, hopefully like an Endo, and maybe buying somebody else, like somebody who can just literally sit in the middle, right, and just control a football and understands that this is happening at this stage of the game. We're under the cosh, sit. Let's just fucking take our medicine here, sit, okay? And then as things move on, they get a little bit tired, they get a little bit pissed off. Now it's their time to go. We haven't had that in a while, guys. We haven't had it in a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And we need
it is.
To answer that question that Lee has at the bottom, we didn't score in that game till I think the 41st minute, I think, was it?
Yeah, we only won it last time.
Yeah. And they had a couple of chances as well. And like Bruno had a header just past the post, and they had another couple of chances as well. They kind of capitulated when the third goal went in. When Mo,
real quick, the second and third goal were only 2 or 3 minutes apart.
Yeah,
that killed them.
That's right.
Yeah.
When Mo turned Martinez into a pretzel, their heads went down.
Our away form was terrible last year. Our home form was very good. Our home form was Champions League. Away form was Championship. I just think this year our home form will be good. Anfield, hopefully the ground gets sorted out. But our home form was more or less guaranteed to be decent. It's the away form for me. Now Chelsea away 1-1 isn't a terrible result, to be honest. Not many teams are going to win there, lads. Not many teams are going to win there. But
you're going away to a team that spent $1 billion. So
well, there you go. They're missing half a bleeding team as well. Will Endo play tomorrow? I don't actually know if Endo will play tomorrow, but the lads seem to think he has a chance. But I don't know.
So I don't think he starts in that position. To be honest with you, I'd be amazed if they threw him into 6. I'd be amazed.
I'd love to see it.
Guys. Won't start. Don't think so.
My shout for tomorrow was Darwin Núñez score and start and score tomorrow. I'm going to go 2-0 to the Reds. Salah and Núñez. I take 2-0. I take 1-0. Clean sheet. I don't want Alisson to have a great game. I want to have a nice quiet game. Read a book or whatever he wants to do. Have a cup of tea. Nice and easy. But we need the 3 points tomorrow. Keith, what do you think? Just got to win the game.
Yeah, just got to win the game. I'm kind of somewhere between 2-1 and 3-1, to be honest with you.
No clean sheet.
No, I don't think we get a clean sheet tomorrow. I think we're still a work in progress in that regard. I think we'll listen. I think we'll cough up a couple of chances. Whether or not they take them is a different ball game, but we'll certainly cough up a couple of chances of them.
Yeah, true. Nigel, what do you think tomorrow? Scorelines, goal scorers.
I think I agree with you. I play Núñez. I'd start Núñez. I think if it's a bit like last season, if we start scoring. If we score a couple of goals early,
another 9-0.
Well, I predicted 5 earlier on one of the sides. I just think if we can click, put these guys on the back foot. This is the first home game of the season. If the players are not up for this, it doesn't really. We've got to go out there and be positive and try and just win your battle. Get the players out there in front. Win your battle. Beat your immediate opponent, and I think we win.
Yeah. Jackie boy, confident enough tomorrow? Surely confident.
Yeah, should be, mate. And looking forward to it. Hopefully, the added capacity does help Liverpool this season. As much as the crowd,
probably October now. This stage.
Yeah, if extra capacity, but Anfield needs to be on it this season. I think it'd be a massive part to play, as it always has been in the previous couple of seasons. If it can get up and behind these lads, but of course the lads still need to put out a performance. But I'm looking forward to it. Made up football's back, lads, at Anfield. Let's get back to winning ways, hopefully, and we go into a good period in the next couple of weeks.
What's your scoreline? I'm going 2-0.
I go 3-0. I'd like us to keep a clean sheet, but I go 3-0.
We'd enough chances against Chelsea. You know, Chelsea had a lot of football, but for large periods of the game didn't massively trouble us, to be honest with you, because they probably lacked the firepower up front. But we looked so dangerous, to be honest with you, and the only concern would be that, and again, it's every season, we need to be more clinical in front of goal, and I think if we're more clinical in front of goal as well. So listen, it's a team-wide requirement for people to step up. We need to be more clinical in front of goal. We need to be more combative in midfield. We need to be more clever in midfield. And I think if we can get those things sorted out, you know, we're a genuine contender for honours. Whether or not that's the high honours or not, well, it won't be the Champions League, but we're a genuine contender for honours. Like, there's only a couple of things we need to really sort out, to be honest with you. And if we can get them sorted out in the next couple of weeks, we are going to be there or thereabouts. I think it's going to be a really topsy-turvy season. I don't think anybody's really going to walk away with it. You know, I think it will be whoever can just get themselves out of the pack might do it this year. So, you know,
luck with injuries, that type of stuff. You know what I mean, lads? Bit of luck. You always need a bit of luck 100%. Down the spine. But look, lads, I think we leave it there. 52 minutes in. It's Friday night. Liverpool tomorrow against Bournemouth at Anfield. The 3:00 traditional kickoff, which is unusual for Liverpool. And it won't be happening much longer, because when we're in the Europa League, it'll be bloody Sundays and Mondays, lads. So you won't see many Saturdays for Liverpool playing. So enjoy it. I'm going.
It's on Premier Sport, by the way, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, Premier Sports is brilliant. Yeah, that's great that it's on that. Keith, thank you very much for coming on. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks,
hope to have you on again next week. Nigel, fair play. Second time on, we get you on for a hat trick soon. Jackie boy, enjoy the holidays in Greece, my friend.
Nice one, boys. Nice one.
Enjoy the holidays.
Try and get a bit of colour. Try and get a bit of sun.
That'll be the Reds win, mate.
Yeah. You weren't wearing the glass and the earphones, you couldn't see it with the white wall behind you, the white t-shirt.
Vampire Jack. He only goes out at night time, the nightclubs in Greece. He can't go out during the day.
How much is it to bring the coffin to Greece?
Especially with the luggage on Ryanair now, mate. Right?
Yeah. All the nightclub UV lights are going to love you.
But guys, thanks very much. You'll never walk alone. Chat, hit the like, hit the share. Talk to you soon. Reds to beat Bournemouth tomorrow. And welcome to Liverpool. Wataru Endo. Stay safe. Cheers.